A very good morning and welcome to the Breakfast News on Rajya Sabha Television this Saturday morning. I am Aishwarya Kapoor with you. Let us begin the bulletin with the headlines. Suspense continues on the battle for SP cycle. Election Commission reserves order on party symbol. Will pass interim order on 17th of Jan. Khadi and Village Industries Commission defends decision to use Prime Minister Modi's photograph in its calendars and diaries. Opposition cries foul. PM says controversy is unnecessary. Parliament's Public Account Committee contradicts its chairman, says Prime Minister Narendra Modi will not be summoned to make deposition on note ban. BJP had objected, saying it was against parliamentary procedures. New Army Chief Bipin Rawat says will conduct surgical strikes again if needed. Also asks his soldiers to directly communicate with him instead of taking recourse to social media to air their grievances. And a first step taken towards dismantling Obama's healthcare law. US House of Representatives passes measure to repeal legislation as soon as next month. Our top story, well, the Election Commission on Friday reserved its decision on the matter of the Samajwadi Party's election symbol. Well, this was after both the factions of the party met the Election Commission officials yesterday. Well, the factions led by Mulayam Singh Yadav and his son, Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Akhilesh Yadav, has a staked claim to the control of the party as well as the symbol. Now, the Commission wants to settle the matter before the nomination process starts on 17th of Jan for the first phase of polls.
अखिलेश यादव जी का जो
सारा माइक नीचे सारा अपना माइक नीचे करो अपना हाथ नीचे करो
पार्टी है उन्होंने इलेक्शन कमीशन में अपना पक्ष रखा और कहा कि जो साइकिल का सिंबल है वो उनको मिलना चाहिए दैट इज समाजवादी पार्टी लेड बाय अखिलेश यादव और दूसरी तरफ से मुलायम सिंह जी के वकील ने अपना पक्ष रखा कि ये सिंबल उनको मिलना चाहिए। लगभग 5 साढ़े 5 घंटा बहस हुई और बहस के खत्म होने के बाद चुनाव आयोग ने कहा है कि हम जल्द से जल्द फैसला करेंगे। इसके बारे में क्योंकि बहस हो चुकी है, अभी निर्णय आया नहीं है, तो उचित नहीं है कि मैं कोई भी टिप्पणी इस बारे में करूं। क्या अब चुनाव आयोग जो भी तय करेगी वो मंजूर होगा।
क्या अखिलेश का राष्ट्रीय अध्यक्ष बनना वैलिड है या नहीं, तो
चुनाव
उस पर क्या कहना था?
यही है कि भाई उन्होंने नहीं कहा चुनाव के बारे में कुछ भी।
हाँ।
और यही कहते रहे कि स्प्लिट है।
हाँ।
हमारा कहना था स्प्लिट नहीं है।
हाँ।
चुनाव इनवैलिड है।
हाँ।
अब वो खुद न्याय करेंगे। कुछ भी नहीं, हम दोनों पार्टी को सुना गया, कोर्ट ने कहा हम न्याय करेंगे।
सर, क्या आप लोगों ने
और ऑर्डर रिजर्व कर लिया, दैट्स ऑल।
एफिडेविट्स के बारे में आप लोगों ने कहा है कि ये
बिल्कुल फर्जी है।
तो कौन सा पॉइंट आपने कहा कि हर एफिडेविट में जो आपने कहा कि एक गलती है जिसे पता चलता है कि फर्जी, क्या गलती की गई वो जो एफिडेविट लोगों ने जमा कराए हैं?
ऐसे है, कट पेस्ट किए गए हैं सारे, एक ही चीज है। अगर एक में गलती है तो सारों में गलती है।
Meanwhile, the Akhilesh faction is not only confident of retaining the party symbol, but also getting an absolute majority in the upcoming polls. Well, it is banking on a development agenda that it claims has gained a lot of popularity among the voters. Now, Mulayam, the Samajwadi Party patriarch, had recently said that Akhilesh will be the next chief minister. But despite the remarks, there seems to have been no efforts really to iron out the differences between the father and son on contentious issues. Remember, the 7-phase assembly elections in Uttar Pradesh will start on 11th of Feb and the filing of nominations will start on 17th of January. Meanwhile, the possibility of a Congress Samajwadi Party alliance in poll-bound Uttar Pradesh brightened as the Congress on Friday declined to rule out such a tie-up in the highly evolving and rapidly transforming scenario. Now, while addressing the media in the national capital, well, Congress leader Abhishek Manu Singhvi said that we are neither agreeing nor disagreeing with any of the speculation in the highly evolving, rapidly transforming minute-to-minute scenario, unquote. Well, he preceded the remark by saying that the Congress was ready and rearing to fight all the 403 assembly seats of the politically key state. Singhvi said that the party has made huge preparations for contesting all the seats. Meanwhile, in more election-related news, BJP has registered a complaint against Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi following his claims of seeing party's symbol in the photographs of gods and saints at a party function. BJP handed over video footage of Rahul Gandhi's speech to UP Election Commission, alleging that the comments were against the recent Supreme Court's order, which had banned seeking of votes in the name of religion and caste. Meanwhile, Rashtriya Lok Dal leader Jayant Chaudhary has now said that political parties in Uttar Pradesh need to unite against BJP as it has deceived the people of the country. He accused the BJP of dividing voters on religion and caste. Jayant Chaudhary also clarified that his party has not entered into an alliance with the Congress. On to some other news. Congress announced names of 8 more candidates for the Punjab polls, taking the number of 108 out of other 117 assembly seats. However, mystery around the name of the former cricketer Navjot Singh Sidhu still remains, as there is still no clarity on whether he will join the party or not. Meanwhile, Arvind Kejriwal will begin a 2-day visit to the Majha region of Punjab to launch the Ghar Bachao Muhim campaign to encourage the people to stand united against corrupt politicians and drug trade in the state. And in a major boost to the Congress party ahead of the 4th of February Punjab Assembly election, now several BJP, SAD and AAP leaders, including a veteran BJP leader and former State Minister Satpal Gosai, joined the party on Friday. And after CBSE board, ICSE examinations for class 10 and 12 have also been rescheduled in the view of assembly elections in 5 states. Now, the ICSE class 10 exam, which was earlier scheduled to begin on 27th of February and end on 31st of March, will now commence on 10th of March and conclude on 21st of April. Class 12 examinations, which were scheduled to begin on 6th of February and conclude on 5th of April, will now begin on 30th of January and conclude on 26th of April. On to some other news now. Army Chief General Bipin Rawat has said that Jawans can complain to him directly by avoiding protocol instead of taking to social media. General Rawat announced the setting up of a Chief of Army Staff Redressal and Grievances boxes at the Army headquarters, at Command headquarters, and also subsequently at also lower levels. He also assured that the identity of any person who writes to him will be protected. He also urged the soldiers to have confidence in the senior leadership of the Army. Now, General Rawat also made it clear that more surgical strikes against Pakistan cannot be ruled out, as India has the right to retaliate if Pakistan does not react positively to the offers of peace.
Anyone, irrespective of rank, service, can use these mechanisms for putting in whatever they wish to write into these letter boxes, so that the grievances reach directly to me, and through me these can be addressed. A soldier is a soldier if he addresses his grievances directly, penning his name down on that. We will ensure that the identity of his name is not disclosed. If you reciprocate in the same manner and accept peace and tranquility on the borders, we will go along. And that the necessity for conduct of surgical strikes in the future should not arise. But if that offer of peace and tranquility is not reciprocated in an appropriate manner or in the manner in which we are offering that offer, then this method of execution of operations will continue.
Meanwhile, in related news, now the Home Ministry has rejected a BSF Jawan's claim that poor quality food is being served to the troops. Well, in its report to the PMO, the Home Ministry said that it found no substance in the complaint by the BSF Constable Tej Bahadur Yadav that poor quality rations were given to security personnel posted along the border. Well, the Home Ministry also asserted that there was no widespread discontent in the forces over food, and the quality check is being conducted regularly. Remember, BSF Constable Tej Bahadur Yadav had put out 4 videos earlier this week in which he had alleged that the troops are served watery, unseasoned dal and burnt rotis. He also talked about how soldiers stand in for hours in icy conditions and are often going to bed on an empty stomach. On to the other top story now. Well, opposition parties on Friday criticised Prime Minister Narendra Modi being featured with a charkha in the 2017 Khadi and Village Industries Commission's calendar and table diary. Now, traditionally, Mahatma Gandhi's picture appears on the calendar, but KVIC Chairman V.K. Saxena said that there is no rule or tradition that only Mahatma Gandhi's picture can be published on these items. However, the BJP also tried to downplay the controversy, saying that the father of the nation is irreplaceable. Many parties call the development worrisome. Now, reacting sharply on Twitter, Delhi Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal, Congress Vice President Rahul Gandhi and West Bengal Chief Minister Mamata Banerjee criticised Prime Minister Narendra Modi over the issue.
Which has now replaced on the KVIC calendar and diary is merely a photographic prop. It's a fashion accessory. This government is very prone to making mistakes, but this doesn't seem to be like a mistake. This seems to be like a very thought out and a very well planned strategy to gain credibility.
He has now tried to become a Gandhi replacement, Mahatma Gandhi replacement, mind you, by evicting Mahatma Gandhi from all the stationery published by the Khadi Sansthan, and there is no other symbol more associated intimately in origin, promotion, establishment of Khadi in India than Mahatma Gandhi, by putting now in all diaries and calendars Mr. Modi's picture. There is no answer by the government, but a quiet whispering campaign is carried out to say that in many earlier years also गांधी जी was evicted.
चरखा और खादी लाकर के अंग्रेजों के खिलाफ जो मुहिम शुरू की थी वो गांधी जी के पहचान है। इस देश में स्वतंत्रता की लड़ाई की एक पहचान है और गांधी जी की फोटो हटा करके वहां नरेंद्र मोदी की फोटो लगाना मुझे लगता है इससे बड़ा घटिया काम कोई नहीं हो सकता है। इसकी पूरी निंदा है और मैं तो मांग करता हूं सारी की सारी डायरी वापस ली जाए।
Khadi Commission cannot ever obliterate or erode or reduce his contribution. Now, if Prime Minister Narendra Modi wants to replace his picture with that of Mahatma Gandhi's picture with his own picture, one begins to wonder either the story is false or the Prime Minister is completely now on the wrong track.
महात्मा गांधी हमारे लिए पूज्य हैं और कोई सवाल ही नहीं खड़ा होता अन्य किसी को उनका स्थान लेने का। क्या वे लोग अपने को भुनाने की कोशिश नहीं कर रहे? जो लोग इस तरह की भाषा का प्रयोग कर रहे हैं वो स्वयं अपनी मार्केटिंग करने की कोशिश करते हैं और जब उसमें विफल हो रहे हैं तो मोदी जी को आरोप लगा रहे हैं।
And the Supreme Court has sought material and legal provisions in support of a PIL seeking postponement for the presentation of the union budget due to assembly elections in 5 states. Now, hearing the matter, the bench said that it found no material evidence to support the case. It also asked the petitioner as to what provisions had been violated in the case. The court has fixed the PIL for further hearing on 20th of January. Earlier, the bench requested to accord urgent hearing to the petition that also sought a direction to stop BJP of its lotus, strip BJP of its lotus election symbol. The petitioner alleged a violation of the Model Code of Conduct that came into effect after declaration of the assembly polls in 5 states. The PIL wants the centre present the union budget in this financial year 2017-18 at a later date instead of 1st of February. Well, the Public Accounts Committee of Parliament has released a statement contradicting its own chairperson KV Thomas. Well, the PAC said that neither a minister nor the Prime Minister could be called for explanation by the panel. Remember, a few days ago, Thomas had cited precedents to state that Prime Minister Narendra Modi could be summoned if the panel was not satisfied with the responses of RBI Governor Urjit Patel and Finance Ministry officials on demonetization. In contrast, now the recent PSC statement quoting rules says that the officials may be called to give evidence in connection with the examination of the estimates and accounts in a particular ministry, but the minister shall not be called before the committee either to give evidence or consultation. Now, the statement also says that the chairperson of the committee may have an informal interaction with the minister. Now, RBI Governor Urjit Patel has been asked by the PAC to explain the demonetization decision on 20th of January this year. News from Tamil Nadu now. Well, DMK held a statewide protest against the top court's decision on Jallikattu on Friday. Well, the state's opposition party also accused the centre and the state government of not taking appropriate and timely steps to ensure the event is conducted. The party's working president, M.K. Stalin, also accused the state government of not giving importance to the issue. However, in several places, the sport was held in an open ground, while police have arrested 28 persons so far. While animal rights group PETA has petitioned President Pranab Mukherjee and Prime Minister Narendra Modi, arguing against any promulgation of an ordinance to permit the sport, saying that it could be considered unconstitutional. Meanwhile, heavy police force has now been deployed in various locations to ensure the maintenance of law and order and compliance of the court's ban order today.
நடத்த முடியாத நிலைகளே தடைபட்டு போயிருக்கிறது என்று சொன்னால் நாளைய தினம் பொங்கல் இன்னும் ஒரு நாள் தான் இருக்கிறது இடையில. ஆக இப்பொழுது கூட குடிமொழிகள் போயிடல, நேரம் கடந்து போயிடல, இடையில ஒரு நாள் இருக்கிறது. இந்த ஒரு நாளில் அவசர சட்டத்தை மத்திய அரசு நிச்சயமாக கொண்டு வர முடியும்.
And in Breakfast News, time for a very short break. We'll be back with more news. Stay tuned.
The sacred relics of Buddha were unearthed in Piprava in Uttar Pradesh. Buddhist monks from all over the world visit the National Museum to pay their respects. These charred bone fragments of Buddha are housed in the gold canopy gifted by the royal family of Thailand.
Thanks for staying with us. Well, unemployment in India is projected to witness a marginal increase between 2017 and 2018, signalling stagnation in job creation in the country, according to a UN labour report. Well, the United Nations International Labour Organization, or the ILO, released its 2017 World Employment and Social Outlook report on Friday, which finds economic growth trends lagging behind employment needs and predicts both rising unemployment and worsening social inequality throughout 2017. Well, unemployment in India is projected to increase from 17.7 million last year to 17.8 million in 2017 and 18 million next year. In percentage terms, well, unemployment rate will remain at 3.4% in 2017-18. Well, India had performed slightly well in the terms of job creation in 2016, when a majority of the 13.4 million new employment created in South Asia happened in the country. Well, the report also acknowledged that India's 7.6% growth in 2017 helped South Asia achieve a 6.8% growth that year. Well, the report added that the global unemployment levels and rates are expected to remain high in the short term as the global labor force continues to grow. In particular, the global unemployment rate is expected to see rise modestly in 2017 to 5.8% from the 5.7% in 2016, representing 3.4 million more unemployment people globally. And Vice President Mohammad Hamid Ansari has called for a balanced approach between the creation of a clinical health infrastructure and the demands of public health. While addressing the 4th convocation ceremony of the Institute of Liver and Biliary Sciences in the national capital on Friday, the Vice President said that there is evidence to suggest that investment in preventive healthcare may be politically less rewarding in a democracy like India in comparison to providing specialized healthcare. He further said that the country is experiencing a rapid health transition, but the country's disease burden remains extraordinarily high. Now, pointing out a low expenditure on public health, the Vice President called for an increase in public expenses, both by the centre and the states, on public health concerns. Well, the ceremony was attended by Delhi Lieutenant Governor Anil Baijal, Deputy Chief Minister Manish Sisodia, and Delhi Minister of Health and Family Welfare Satyendra Jain among other senior officials.
This composite threat to the nation's health and development needs a concerted public health response that can ensure efficient delivery of cost-effective interventions for health promotion, disease prevention, and affordable diagnostic and therapeutic healthcare.
To the weather update now. Well, cold wave continues to prevail in different parts of North India, where at least 25 trains are running late as 6 have been rescheduled and 8 cancelled due to the dense fog. Well, intense cold conditions continue in the national capital, even though mercury registered a slight increase. Well, the minimum temperature was recorded at 4.3 degrees Celsius and the maximum temperature was recorded at 19.5 degrees Celsius on Friday. Well, the Met Department has forecast partly cloudy skies for today with moderate to dense fog in the morning. Well, Uttar Pradesh is also facing severe cold conditions for the last 48 hours. Minimum temperature is hovering between close to 0 to 7 degrees Celsius in the state for the last 24 hours. Well, the state capital, Lucknow, recorded lowest of 0.1 degrees Celsius, while several other places in the state recorded a minimum temperature less than 3 degrees Celsius. Well, the Met Department has said that the temperature may increase marginally in the coming 24 hours, but there will be no respite really from the cold. And in Himachal Pradesh, the unprecedented cold wave conditions continue despite a crystal clear sky and bright sunshine. Well, there is no improvement in sub-zero temperatures at various places and the people are reeling under severe cold wave throughout the state. The Met Department has predicted a heavy snowfall and rain on 15th of January and 16th of January as well, as a fresh western disturbance would hit again the Himalayan region from today. And in Jammu and Kashmir, cold wave continues with the Srinagar experiencing the coldest night in the last 5 years as the water supply lines and the various water bodies, including fringes of the famous Dal Lake, froze. Well, the mercury in Srinagar went down by over a degree from the previous night's minus 5 degrees Celsius to settle at a low of minus 6.3 degrees Celsius. Well, the Met Department has forecast another spell of wet weather from today. And a look at what all is making news across the country. Let's take a look in the nationwide. The CBI has registered a case against unknown officials of Air India in connection with the alleged irregularities in the procurement of software worth 225 crore rupees by the national carrier in 2011. Well, the agency registered the case on the recommendation of the Central Vigilance Commission, which found prima facie procedural irregularities in the procurement of the software. It has also asked the agency to investigate whether any of the persons who dealt with the issue at IBM and in the government got any financial or other benefits out of it. The Supreme Court has refused to modify its order on banning liquor shops off national highways on Friday. The apex court had on 15th of December directed to remove all liquor shops within 500 meters range near the national and state highways across the country. Well, the ban will be effective from 1st of April this year. The apex court had also observed that all the existing licenses of the liquor shops on highways will not be renewed after 31st of March this year. The top court also directed to remove liquor billboards appearing on all the national highways as well as state highways. The orders have been implemented by chief secretaries and the police chiefs in each state. Indian Islamic preacher Zakir Naik's Islamic Research Foundation has challenged the centre's decision to immediately ban the organisation in Delhi High Court. Well, the foundation has claimed that no reasons were given for taking such an action under the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act. The court has asked the government to produce the relevant record on 17th of January so that the court can see whether there was material for urgent ban of IRF. The Supreme Court on Friday directed that the interim ban by the National Green Tribunal on the glass-coated thread manja used for flying kites will continue. The bench said that the petitioners, who are a group of traders from Gujarat, can move the NGT for appropriate relief. The interim ban on the thread was imposed by the Green Tribunal on 14th of December last year. On to some international news now. Well, the US has taken the first step towards the dismantling of the Barack Obama's signature healthcare law. Well, the US House of Representatives on Friday passed a budget measure that eases passage of a new law. It also instructs 4 committees on Capitol Hill to draft a repeal legislation by 27th of January. Well, the measure was passed in the House 227 for 198, delivering a blow to President Barack Obama's legacy a week before he leaves office. Now, eliminating Obamacare is a top priority of the Republican majority Congress, as well as President-elect Donald Trump, who has urged the lawmakers to act quickly. But lawmakers in both parties remain concerned about the lack of replacement for the law, which is known as Obamacare. The Senate, remember, had earlier passed the resolution on Thursday. News from the Middle East now. While claiming major progress, Iraqi forces say that they have breached the Mosul University campus that has been used by Islamic State as a military facility. Well, Iraqi elite troops entered the compound on Friday in an attempt to secure the area in the last major Islamic State stronghold in Iraq. However, they are meeting heavy resistance from the IS militants. Well, operation to capture the university in the eastern part of the city has seen government forces gain control of several buildings in the area. Well, government forces say that while using the complex as a base, the Islamic State has used the site's chemistry laboratories to produce chemical weapons as well. Well, the latest phase to push to retake Mosul, remember, was launched last month.
The Iraqi security forces have progressed all the way to the Nineveh governance building, the provincial council building, and hoisted the Iraqi flag above it. That's the seat of the government for Nineveh province. Those of you who know Iraq very well, that's a place you may have visited. It's both a symbolic victory and a significant operational victory. So thrilled to see that the success continues and we've got that momentum that's so required.
On to some sports news. Well, the Sports Ministry has lifted the suspension of the Indian Olympic Association, or the IOA, with immediate effect after it removed the corruption-tainted duo of Suresh Kalmari and Abhay Singh Chautala as life presidents following an outrage. But it still took a dig at it for ignoring rules in the first instance. But the ministry said that it was revoking the suspension of deemed recognition of IOA handed down on 30th of December last year, following its admission of FOPA, while making Kalmari and Chautala as the life presidents. The ministry, however, asked the IOA to uphold the highest standards of probity and ethics in future as well. In the official letter sent later to the IOA informing about the revocation of the suspension, the ministry said that the proposal to make Kalmari and Chautala as life presidents should not have been allowed to take place. That's all in this edition of news, but news and updates continue on Rajya Sabha Television. Thanks for your time.